Alright, Polaris owners, what I got for you today is an oil change on a 2013 Polaris Sportsman 500 HO. The reason I'm doing this video is because I've gone through a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of ATV forums, especially about Polarises, that put some information out there, but it's very incomplete, doesn't really show you the exact method on how to do this. This is a lot of trial and error here. So one of the things I want to kind of point out is removal. To do this job properly, removing the foot guard and the plastic around here to do it. Now, I am one of those people that have done this oil change without removing those things. I really don't like to read instructions very much, so I'm definitely one of those people that end up usually regretting that later on, and this would definitely be one of those cases. Just want to point out, once you take off all that plastic, this bike really opens up. You can do a lot of the maintenance and a lot of other maintenance when you take all that off. So make sure you try to get in everything you wanted to do while you have all this stuff off. You go around this side of the bike, you can kind of see exactly where everything opens up. There's a little plug right along here that you're gonna have to remove. That's one of your oil plugs that drains all the oil out of the engine. This screen fitting right here, we're going to talk more about that later, because that is one of the actually main points of this video. You're going to take that off. You're also going to have to drain the oil from this plug right here and from the oil filter. Kind of want to show you some of the tools you're going to need to do this. Basically, what I wanted to point out to you is I've looked on a lot of forums, and Polaris has their own oil that they use. Nobody seems to know who makes it except Polaris, and there's just a lot of questions about it as far as the operating temperatures and stuff like that. But basically, what I use is, I went to a lot of kind of backtrack a little bit. Went to a lot of forums, and I noticed a lot of people like AMSOIL. Now, I don't work for AMSOIL. They don't pay me to put this stuff out there, so I just want to tell you I am a consumer of it, and I really like it. They have a really good website. You can just enter in your make, model, and year of your vehicle or your bike, and it'll tell you exactly what you need. Now, what I use is an AMSOIL. It's a Power Sports 4-stroke formula synthetic motor oil, and it's an SAE OW-40. That's a real good weight to use down here in the South because it really doesn't get that cold. It does get really, really hot down here, so this is perfect for that, for Southerners. Anyway, what you're going to need is a adjustable torque wrench in 3/8 drive. You're going to need a regular 3/8 ratchet with a this looks to probably be about 12-inch extension. That's to get all the plugs out. And it's also used to get this off right here. And this is one of the main reasons I did this video, because there's absolutely almost no information online about how to get this off. This is the screen fitting, and where that goes is right over here. Sorry, I'll make you walk over here again. Kind of put it right in there. This is where that goes. It goes right in that little oil reservoir right there. And basically, Polaris recommends that you clean this, remove this, clean this every time you change your oil. And I'm going to tell you that you don't need to do that. This is a 2013 bike. It's 2016. I've gone about 3 seasons with this bike. This is exactly what it looked like when I took it off. They recommend cleaning all the metal and oil off of it. There was just oil. There was no metal. There was nothing on here. You're gonna have to prime that hose, that line. So when you remove this, you're gonna have to remove the hose first, which is a real pain in the butt to remove. Most of those think it's a rubber hose. You just move the clamp back and you pull it off. Not the case. That thing was really hard to get off, and I'm kind of wondering if I am going to have to replace that hose now, because it was so hard to get off. This itself is really hard to get off because Polaris puts a thread locker on this, and you're gonna have to put a lot of torque and a lot of and there's just no room to work because it's just so confined in there. So what I bought was this, and there was a lot of questions on ATV forums about this, and this is more or less what I wanted to point out. What you're gonna need is a Duralast. It's an 8-piece crowfoot wrench set. It's in metric, and they look like this. And what you're gonna need to use is the number 22, and you're gonna need it to use it in combination with the foot long extension and the 3/8 drive ratchet. Before you reinstall this, you're gonna need to apply more thread locker. And what I use is the Permatex. It's a medium strength. It's the blue. And basically, what I noticed here is it's removable with hand tools. You don't want to use the red and you don't want to use the green because that stuff's got to be heated up to 500 degrees to get it back off. And like I said, you don't need to do this every time you do your oil change. Do it maybe every 4 to 5 oil changes. And it all depends on how you ride too. If you ride very, like I do, almost, this thing only gets used during really hunting season, and every 3 to 4 oil changes is fine. Other than that, also I wanted to point out this too. It's going to take 2 quarts of this AMSOIL oil, and I got this Fram Extra Guard oil filter at Walmart. It's very cheap, very inexpensive. Don't need to go buy anything from your dealer where they're going to charge you about 3 times what it's worth. This right here, I use a Fram Extra Guard. It's a PH 6017A. And also what I want to tell you too, prior to removing any plugs, prior to letting your oil drain, let your bike run for about 5 minutes before let it get warm, and then open everything up, remove all your plugs, let your oil drain out, and let it drain out completely before you reinstall. That's about it. This too, to remove your I found this right here works perfect for removing your oil filter. I try to use some of the others. They didn't really work, but this one right here, this will do it. So anyway, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, message me below. Thank you.